20% of single men now saying they don't have any close friends. And more than half of all men report feeling unsatisfied with the size of their friend groups. I recently traveled to Phoenix to take a closer look at the implications of male loneliness and how some men are confronting it.
A great way to start off 2024, just another meetup.
On a recent night in Phoenix, a group of men gathered on a rooftop bar to talk about their goals for the new year.
I'm training for a half marathon, my first one ever.
Spend more time with family. I have my grandparents, like my grandfather, and he'll be 91 this year.
Wow.
Make moments like this where I can sit and talk and, look for mentorship and even offer it.
This friends group was started by 38-year-old Quincy Winston. After leaving the military in 2015, Winston moved to Arizona with his wife LaToya and started working as an IT specialist. But for years, he says he struggled to make friends here. Were you feeling lonely and disconnected?
Definitely, especially when it came to having male friends. I didn't have any, and that lack of connection put me in a place where I didn't know exactly what to do about it.
So, in March of 2022, Winston turned to the social media platform Meetup and decided to invite other men to a local restaurant.
I think we went to a restaurant called Papa Do's, and I didn't know who would show up or if anybody would show up.
Sounds nerve-wracking.
And it was awkward, but once the guys came in and hearing some of their explanations and what they were looking for, I found out we had a lot more in common than I thought.
7 men showed up for that first event.
Are you guys warm?
Which Winston says only happened because of his wife. You encouraged him to form this group.
Yeah, I wanted him to have a social life, like outside of just us doing things together all the time, which was great, but I still felt like he needed to have guy time and guy friends.
Yeah, she made it very evident that I need to go make some friends.
Go disappear for a little bit.
Go disappear. Now you have some friends. Yes, come back, but, go. Yeah, chicken needs a little bit more time. I'm just grabbing the hot dogs right now.
The men still meet up about once a week for activities like this backyard barbecue. Winston's meetup group now has nearly 130 members. It speaks to the need for connection that your group is that big. I mean, is that how you see it?
Yeah, it does. And, with all the technology that we have to keep us more connected to where we can communicate instantly with anyone, anywhere. But if you notice, we don't talk as much. We text more. A lot gets lost in translation because we just don't have that physical connection.
I'm the newest member of the group, but I'm also one of the oldest members of the group.
Connection is what 61-year-old Robert Montgomery was looking for. What motivated you to join this group?
My whole thing was I said I needed friends. Because I didn't have any. I got tired of being, basically isolated at home all the time, and I spent my birthday at home by myself. And I didn't like that. I was like, okay, no, I can't do this anymore.
Montgomery is certainly not alone. Only 21% of men in the U.S. say they get emotional support from friends every week. That's compared to 41% of women.
Sometimes as men, we struggle to say, I need you.
Richard Reeves is the author of Boys and Men, Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It. What is driving male loneliness? Why do men have such a hard time forming friendships and keeping them as they progress through life?
You can't neglect a friendship and expect it to just grow. You have to work at it. You have to find the time. And my observation is that many women are just better at doing that and building it into their lives. So it's lack of purpose.
Reeves also says over the last 4 decades, there's been a steady deterioration of male friendships.
For men under the age of 30, 15% say they don't have a close friend. And that's up from 3% in 1990. So we have a really difficult challenge now of helping men to find places, spaces, and ways to be with other men and to sustain those male friendships.
Last year, the U.S. Surgeon General issued an advisory outlining the devastating health effects of loneliness and isolation, including increased risks for heart disease, strokes, and dementia. And while men make up slightly less than 50% of the U.S. population, they now account for nearly 80% of all suicides.
I think these statistics on young male isolation and relatedly of suicide rates is part and parcel of this displacement that we see of time away from friendship.
What should we be doing to reverse these trends?
We do need to be intentional about male friendship. We need to be intentional about combating against male loneliness, and that we have to create spaces that they're not going to create themselves.
That's at the heart of Men's Sheds, a non-profit that began in Australia in the 1990s and now has 27 locations across the country.
So then I have to drive through here then?
Yeah.
The goal here, to reach older men, who now have the highest rate of suicides in the U.S.
I had no idea other men like myself, when they retire from work, they lose their work friends, and then most men struggle to get a circle of new friends.
74-year-old Phil Johnson has helped start several men's sheds around Minneapolis. A couple of times a month, these mostly retired men come together to both work on projects and to simply sit around and chat.
Men feel more open about talking to guys like themselves about health concerns they may have.
A couple years ago,
yeah. So the research shows over and over again that men do best when they're doing something and they can do it together.
It's a chance for men to share a laugh, but also seek advice.
We tackle some tough problems like suicide, which is higher in retired men. We've had 3 men that I know of that have lost their spouses, and there's always going to be somebody else in the group can say, hey, here's how I did it, here's some ideas, here's something you should try to do.
And no, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You have brothers, you have a pack, you have a tribe, you have a family away from home.
Back in Arizona, I was invited on a morning hike with Quincy Winston's friend group, an outing organized by 29-year-old Nick Crum, who says joining the group has exceeded his expectations.
It's just grown so much, and we've been able to meet so many quality people, so many people who actually want to be vulnerable, talk about the things that we like to talk about, talk about our life, build that genuine connection with one another.
That's exactly what Winston says he hoped for when he created the group.
We need each other, and we need to support, uplift, encourage, and motivate other men to, seek friendship.
Quincy Winston now wants to expand his friend group beyond the Phoenix area, so meetups like this one can become more common for men across the country.
Figure out what we can do to bring people together.
For the PBS